Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Budge is absent. Director Daniels?
Here.
Director Hume is absent. Director Jennings? Absent. Director Kozlowski?
Here.
Director Laloy is absent. Director Maple?
Here.
Director Cerna?
Here.
Director Singh-Allen?
Here.
Director Valenzuela?
Here.
And Chair Kennedy.
Here.
With that, we have a quorum at 7 votes, and this meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Thursday, September 28th at 12 p.m. and Saturday, September 30th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker card located at the rear of the room and provide it to myself or Adam. Once the item has been called, additional speaker cards will not be accepted. Individuals will have 3 minutes to address the board. The timer will chime when you have 30 seconds remaining, and then again when your time is up. Public comment will be taken first from those in the boardroom, and then those joining us by phone or Zoom. If you're participating by phone, please push *9 to indicate a desire to comment. If you're joining us through Zoom, please push the raise hand button. Be sure to unmute yourself when it is your turn to speak and voluntarily state your name for the record.
Thank you very much. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Salute. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That takes us to our consent calendar. Is there any member of the board that would like to address an item on consent, or pull an item, or ask any questions? Seeing none, is there any member of the public that would like to address anything on the consent calendar? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I'll,
All right, we have a motion and a second. Did the clerk get that?
Was it Cerna and Singh-Allen? Okay.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Next item.
Okay, the next item is number 3, introduction of special guests. 3.1, special recognition, Matthew Augustin, and Chair Kennedy will
Yes.
present this.
Thank you very much. So I had Matthew reached out to me and sent me a video that I found quite compelling and worthy of bringing to the board. So are we ready to go with that? And then we'll have a slight discussion after, and also have an opportunity for Matthew to come up and speak. But I think that what we're about to see speaks for itself in quite a way.
You need to come in. I need your healthcare ID, please. You feel overwhelmed, are you? Because you wanted to sleep, huh? State of California. No postage necessary.
Tata can walk faster when Matthew hold me. When Tata is alone, you cannot walk faster.
Okay, I'll do that. You said you always wanted to go to 99 cents.
Yeah,
How cheap is that? You pay 99
that is
cents.
why Tata buy only the price is $1.
You can climb stairs. Where are we going to be sitting? We're almost there, Tata. Oh, 1996. 1996. Oh, it smells nasty. That's like really what? What are you gonna buy? The word that you said again.
I love my Lord, I love my God, I love my heart, love my soul, love my mind, love my strength.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. Amen, Lord. Amen. That is when I ride a train going to 99. You see, that is sick. Oh, imagine. You see, that will be for 4 years, that I 90.
This is important. Go. Go. Hey, was it a good day? Was it a good day? You have a good time outside? Okay. Tatay! Oh! You want to go to the cinema? You like to watch movie?
Yeah. If you like, that I like also.
There you go. That's nice. Okay. Seriously, you want me to eat that?
Yeah, no. Too many, no? That I buy.
Grandfather, I do respect that. Why are you leaving,
Matthew, do not ask too much question.
Popeye? You're not gonna come back. I would like to thank Sacramento Regional Transit for allowing my grandfather to board public transportation, the bus, the light rail, for free using a lifetime pass.
Would you like to take the podium?
You know, I mean, it's been a long time. It's been over, I don't know how many years, but it's been over 4 years since my grandfather. I mean, it was very tragic, but I do remember him for who he was. He was someone who I grew up with very closely in my childhood. I remember him taking me on light rail and taking me when I was a little boy. I remembered him. He was strong. He was active, even in his old age. Even in his old age, he had the courage, he had the strength, he had the fortitude to keep going despite his condition. For me, I remember him very honestly. I remember him. He would always go out. He would always go out just to buy groceries at the 99-cent store at Rancho Cordova, several miles away from our house. Can you imagine the incredible amount of strength for someone who was 86 years old to have that courage inside of him, to be able to boldly go outside? And I remember fondly those days when I would go with him. I remember him for who he was, my grandfather. He had a lifetime pass. He could board light rail for the rest of his life. He had the ability to do that. Very few people have that ability to do that. But my grandfather was given the opportunity, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm very grateful for what my grandfather has done. I feel an expressed amount of gratitude that my grandfather, even despite all of these circumstances, despite his untimely, when I remember that moment, I mean, it was hard. It was hard to imagine such a strong, such a able-bodied person, tragically, I expected him to, he promised that he would live longer. I just wish I were still with him. I wish I would still enjoy and cherish those moments, those precious moments when I was a kid, when he would nurture me, when he would take care of me, when he would raise me up when I was a little kid. I remembered very fondly those moments. I will never forget them. I will never forget them. They will always be with me in my heart. They will always be forever with me. Even though he's gone, even though he's still in my heart with me, I remember him for who he was. I remember my grandfather as this strong, this active, this strong person who was able to overcome everything despite his condition. He used his gift. He used what you gave him. You gave him this opportunity for him to explore the world. He did this when he was back in the Philippines. And when he came over here to the United States, he used that gift that you graciously gave him, that lifetime pass. I will never forget it. I will never forget that. I will never forget that gift that you gave to him. I would like to thank, on behalf of you, that precious gift, that lifetime pass that has since been etched into my memory, etched into the volume of my brain. This lifetime pass, this that allowed him to travel everywhere he wanted to. He had the freedom, he had the boldness, he had the strength to go all the way despite everything. So I want to thank you all for giving him this opportunity. I remember him very fondly. I remember my grandfather for who he was. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew.
Chair, can I say something?
Yes.
Whew, try to collect myself. I didn't know we were going to be ugly crying this evening.
I promised myself I'd
Oh,
watch
my
it.
goodness.
I promised myself I would watch the video 5 times so that I wouldn't cry today, and I didn't make it.
First of all, Matthew, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so incredibly proud of you. The legacy of your grandfather, he lives through you, through your passion, your words. You were so eloquent. While he's gone, he's here tonight in spirit. Proud of you, young man. I'm just so incredibly grateful that our future looks like you. Truly, as a mother of 2 young men, I see them in you as well, that respect for the elders, those moments that you captured in those videos, they are priceless, that you can take with you and pass to the next generation. That bond, that love, I heard it in your words and I saw it, how you interacted with him. I wish more of our young people could do that give that love and respect to their grandparents, their elders, because the stories and the wisdom comes from them. So thank you for sharing your story. I'm grateful for you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody else? I will say this, that my purpose for bringing this forward wasn't just to touch all of our hearts, which that easily is done here, but to talk about a policy, discussion. And I'd like the staff to come back with, because we no longer have the lifetime passes, and I'd like to have that policy discussion. I understand legal issues and all of that, but I believe we can get through that, and I'd like staff to come back with a report on how we reinstitute this policy that, that made Matthew's grandfather whole and is right for our community. Thank you. All right. Yes.
Sorry. Rick Hodgkins has his hand up.
Yes, Rick, please.
Is this on items not on the agenda?
No,
No.
we're,
Or are we on the consent calendar?
We're actually on item 3.1. Rick,
Okay, I joined, then I had to leave, then I had to come back.
that's
is-
fine. Rick, if you'll just mute it for a second. We're coming up on items not on the agenda, if that's what you want to speak on. Yes?
do you have the Monopoly board?
Oh, I do. Thank you very much. Thank you. And with that, Matthew.
There's a reason.
You have the Sacramento edition of Monopoly. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, there you have it. Public items not on the agenda. Rick, if you're still there, we'll take you first. All right, then Barbara Stanton.
Yeah,
There you go,
can
Rick.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I read, well, I'll try and make this quick because I wanted to talk on the consent calendar and I missed it. I have a question about the underground, why underground things are being put in at light rail stations. I see why we need overhead for traction power, but what about the underground? I'm curious about that. I support the elevator thing, the elevator maintenance. Let's just keep those elevators clean and sanitary. And also I support the purchase of more low floor light rail vehicles. And finally, I support the ATU position on wages for SAC-RT Go drivers. Just last year, I went to a Halloween party last Halloween, and on the way there, I had a SAC-RT Go, formerly paratransit driver, tell me that that she wants SAC-RT Go drivers to get more money because even though they don't drive big buses or light rail trains, they have to deal with a lot more because some passengers need special care. Maybe not myself, but other passengers need it. And speaking of paratransit, one thing I'd like to bring up is last Thursday, I went to 24-hour fitness. And because of the hours I went, the pool is closed from 7:30 to 10 on Thursday mornings for cleaning, and I wanted to leave early because of that. And I was taken off a U-Serve and put on a bus, but I was told that it would be there later than my previous ready time. And if they claimed that they were very busy, why did they take me off the U-Serve? So that is my public comment. And again, I have questions about the underground things that they're putting in at light rail stations. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. And Henry, we have staff that will respond to Rick's concerns and questions.
Yes, we will.
Thank you very much. Barbara Stanton.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Kennedy and directors. Barbara Stanton, Ridership for the Masses, and newly elected president of the Sacramento Resident Advisory Board. But I'm here on behalf of Ridership for the Masses. I just want to say something about the lifetime pass. I have a friend who's 96, and she doesn't drive hardly anymore, but she does take the light rail and the bus, and she's 96, and she has a lifetime pass. So I would really love to see the lifetime pass come back. Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, I sent the board a letter. It was a 2-page letter with a chart attached to it that was about bus cancellations. And the only response I got was from Phil Cerna's office that said, "Thank you, we received your email." So 22 days out, we have not received a response. We asked the board certain questions to ask staff. We are concerned about bus cancellations because RT says only 1% of the bus routes are canceled, but we're concerned about the 1% that rides that bus and who is affected by that 1% cancellations. So I'm just up here tonight to find out, did anybody read our email? Did they send it on? It sort of went off into Never Land, and we never got a response. So that's my question. Thank you.
Thanks very much,
Mr. Chair?
Barbara. Yes.
Henry, what's the current protocol, if there even is one, for constituents that may reach out to us at our council district offices or our board offices about an RT matter, and whether or not, are we telling the public that they should be copying certain staff regardless of where they send where they direct their emails to electeds?
There are multiple ways public can reach out to staff and also to the board members too. And in this particular case, normally when we receive something like this, we immediately address. But however, somehow this, let me ask our customer service department head, Lisa, can you address this issue? Why we have not received this?
Sure, be happy to. Chair Kennedy, members of the board, Lisa Hines. We didn't receive the letter. We received a copy of it just a few minutes or maybe like 30 minutes before the board meeting tonight, so it wasn't shared with staff. Once we received it, we quickly started to try to research it before the meeting to prep for it. But unfortunately, we weren't CC'd. So our preference would be that if you could CC customer service, you could CC Henry. Anybody that receives it at SAC-RCT staff will quickly share it with one another, and our goal is to get this answered quickly and promptly. Unfortunately, we just didn't have that in our hands this time.
The reason I'm glad Lisa came to the podium to explain that is we all, and I'm not making excuses, it's just what it is, but we all serve on 15 to 30 different boards and commissions. And we all have very small staff crews at our respective offices. They have to take that correspondence, figure out which agency it needs to be directed to and which person at that agency needs to see the correspondence, and it would just be very helpful. This is actually a request of our constituents that I'm making. If you could make sure that there's at least a CC to someone at the agency that is the subject matter agency, that would be helpful to make sure that whatever issue you might have gets seen by the right people timely. So, thank you.
Yes. This sounds like a very real case, and we never experienced something like that. Actually, Chris actually had a cup course with Barbara just last couple days, and well, you know, I'm not trying to blame you, Barbara, because
If you need to get to the microphone, if you, yeah, thank you.
For about 2 years, Jeffrey and I have been talking to staff about cancellations, and we had more and more questions about it. So instead of, what I normally do is send it to staff. I didn't send it this time because we asked if the board could ask staff to get our questions answered, because we weren't getting them answered. So that's why I didn't CC anybody. So that's my.
Can I give you some advice? That in the future, if you're going to go that route and go, you know, directly to the electeds, go ahead and CC staff at the relevant agency. If I'm a staff person and I see that a constituent has reached out to my board of directors,
Right.
I'm going to put that probably near the top of the priority list.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cerna. All right, thank you. I have Kay Harris with immaculate handwriting, by the way.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Keisha Harris, and I am here with my wonderful, amazing daughter, Mariah, and we're here in regards to the River District. There is a bus stop in the River District, number 33. It's a really small bus route, but it's a bus route nonetheless. And unfortunately, that bus route is obstructed. I made a couple of notes. I first called the customer service, which was absolutely amazing, and I want to give you kudos for that. Sometimes we're hesitant in calling because we don't know what we're going to get on the other end, but I can honestly tell you that SAC-RT customer service, top of the line. Call you any day, so thank you for that. I do want to bring my concerns. The feedback number I received when I called is 122007. And that's in regards to, again, the 33 bus route, which is obstructed. There is construction going on with the Marisol Village project, huge, and totally understand that things may get missed. Well, in this particular case, the bus stop was placed inside of the construction area. So the 33 bus stop isn't visible for the bus drivers. In addition to that, the curb is not painted red. The ADA ramp is not in line with the bus stop. So now, mind you, again, there's a lot of construction going on. There was a community there prior. So things could have kind of, got missed along the way in that the bus route was moved and the ADA is over here. I'm looking that we bring all those things together. The community absolutely needs that. We're looking at the elderly. We're looking at children and families. We're looking at just single individuals. And we want to make sure that they're able to catch the bus. You know that because of the location of the community, you have to catch a bus to get to the light rail station. You can't walk to a light rail station because it's not easily accessible. With that being said, if they miss a bus, that could be a lost job opportunity. That could be a missed appointment. That could be a child being late for school. So I'm just asking for your assistance in that area. If I'm not mistaken, Katie, you're my representative from my area. Love to collaborate with you. I appreciate that. Okay, Phil, yes, I love it. Collaborate with you as well. All of us. Again, the community is an amazing project. The bus route is small, and I hope that it grows. We recently found out that funding was lost for the light rail station that was going to go directly across the street from the community. Well, we all know what that means. We have to get other alternatives. I'm just asking that we do that. Does that mean that I have to stop?
It means you need to wrap up.
Okay.
You had 23 seconds.
And so, with that being said, I'm just asking again that we look at painting the road, access on Dos Rios, the wheelchair and ADA, that it lines up with the bus sign. Again, the sign is inside of the construction area. So we want to bring that out back where it needs to be so the bus driver isn't passing by it, and that it's not behind the fence. And our unsheltered are unfortunately taking up some of those areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you
Chair,
so much.
Could I please, Mr. Chair, down here?
Where?
This way. There you go. There you go. To the left. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to come. I'd love to ping Lisa, who I saw her back here taking furious notes, especially when you referenced your numbers, and Henry, if we can work together, because some of this is RT issue, some of this is city. So I want to make sure that our teams are collaborating to support that. And Henry, I don't believe we lost the money for the light rail station. Can you please give an update on that? Because I know I got some panic emails from people saying, oh my gosh, and I'm like, no, we will know if that money gets lost. But
So we have about $30 million there. We're short about $5 million, but we're looking for a way to say if we can find the additional $5 million, we'll change that to the BRT type or express bus. So we're in the process of getting money, securing money, or change to BRT. But no matter what, you really appreciate you bring this up today. We're going to start address this tomorrow, the first thing tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you. See, results. You come to the meetings, but I will write down and steal my friend the mayor's pen here to write down my information so you can follow up if anything else happens, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you all.
And we have your contact information, so if we have to follow up, we will.
Okay, thank you.
And I also want to just thank you for the way you've presented your issue tonight. It's pretty rare that it's articulated as well as it has been, and
I try.
that's not to speak poorly about others, but the fact that you came here and, as Councilmember Valenzuela mentioned, took time out of your day, despite the fact that you, according to your testimony, received satisfactory results from the phone line, which is great to hear, but then to underscore it by being here personally really means a lot. And I too would love to try and help if I can. It is the city of Sacramento, but we are your representatives jointly here on the RT board. And I'm glad that Katie asked the question about the funding, because I know in my briefings with SHRA, we have a ticking clock, no doubt about it, but I have not heard that we have lost anything yet. So
My apologies.
yeah, no, I'm glad you prompted the question. And I would actually like to have a three-way conversation with city, county, and RT about this $5 million shortfall, because that is unacceptable if we let it go and we're that close. I mean, not that we have a carte blanche checkbook here, but that would be a shame if we didn't take advantage of the opportunity as is with that smaller percentage shortfall.
Yeah.
This project is actually a miracle, and we never thought we would be able to get money to build this station. Just a little bit of history. The agency who is handling this community applied for the state fund money twice, did not get any grant. The third time included SAC-RT for about 17 or 20 million dollars to build that light rail station. So that grant virtually count over close to $30 million.
Can I make a suggestion? We have a very capable and able representative on the California Resources Board. Yes. And I suggest maybe we bring Mr. Guerra into the conversation as well.
Sure.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. I appreciate it. And we look forward to the city of Sacramento to pay for that $5 million.
I thought the county just volunteered. I was going to say, on the record.
Jeffrey Dardagia. Jeffrey?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try using
Okay. This is on items not on the agenda.
This is items not on the agenda.
Correct.
What I will do and reinforce is because all of you attended a meeting here, we're discussing about the bus cancellations. This is why you are involved. Last Monday, it went from 9 o'clock in the morning of 3 to 11 o'clock, 11, to by 4 o'clock, 40 plus bus cancellations. Now, my understanding from staff is this was related because the bus bridge that worked out from 29th Street to going all the way out to Watt, that required much more bus service going on. But you are having to do this again for your light rail And the other thing that happened with that was where the signage for the bus bridge, a number of riders did not understand where it was and how to get on it. On regards to what was mentioned here, route number 11 in the city does not have a lot of bus stops marked in red. So there is a number on that one and on the 51 that repeatedly on the weekends, cars park there. I have spoken to planners when they blocked the bus stop at 5th and I Street, as well as the one at 5th and L, and the problems that are there. These are all things that I've related to staff in the last year. You have not been involved with it, board, but these are matters that why I say special projects and other concerns need to be brought to your attention. I also want to congratulate Henry in that ECOS met on a Thursday night. And Henry did an excellent job of explaining why we are not getting the state dollars, the federal dollars, because we do not have the local dollars. And this part will hit on, you're going to be down in item 7.2, which I will comment further on. But this is part of the thing that we need to get to the public, the understanding of why public dollars are needed for public transportation and what we gain out of them. At the same time, I also want to appreciate in your agenda, oh yes, I'm getting down to my time left there, is the new business ongoing projects and initiatives. You need to continue more of those going on so you know what's going on. You had a project some time ago, SACOG, and it was dealing with putting up bus signs at bus shelters to show when the buses were coming. I know the one over here and the one on 29th Street and the one on 8th and O aren't working. Don't know why, don't have. Better things need to be checked on to see what's going on. Right now, the next board meeting, I hope you will ask the question of what's the signage look like at I-80? Is it up? Does it work for the riders?
Thanks, Jeffrey.
That's my not for public comment.
Thank you very much. All right, next item, new business.
Okay, Chair Kennedy, we have one attendee on Zoom, and I also have a written public comment. There's actually two online.
Fair enough. Go.
Okay, I'll read the written public comment. This is from Jim Blank. I own a home at 2211 6th Avenue, adjacent to the Sacramento Regional Transit property containing light rail tracks that is currently a nuisance. Regional Transit's allowance of illegal camping and illegal accumulation of associated materials has significantly interfered with my private property rights. The camp is 5 feet from my home. A sound wall separates, but does not protect from the noise, smell, crime, and high risk of fire. Nor does it protect from petty theft occurring as the campers tunnel under or climb over the wall to access the 6th Avenue. There are fires several times a week that fill the home with smoke, often of burning trash. Campers are cutting down the unmanaged vegetation to use as fuel. The vegetation could also easily catch fire, as it did several weeks ago 2 blocks north of my house. Fire could also spread to parked trains, cars containing hazardous and flammable materials. Sacramento Fire Department has been here several times in the last 2 months. There's an odor and flies from defecating under the blackberry bushes along the wall. Campers collect wooden scraps along the rail line to build their structures, so their camp is a pile of lumber that could also easily catch fire. Rocks are thrown over the wall, threatening people and property. Regional Transit needs to remove the illegal campers and remove the accumulated flammable materials. Regional Transit also needs to build an access road for police and fire to access the location. Regards, James Blank. And Lisa Hines is going to respond to this comment.
Lisa, I don't know that it's necessary that you respond today, but I would like you to directly respond to the person who wrote the letter. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then online we have Dan Allison.
Good evening, board members. My name is Dan Allison. I'm representing Sacramento Transit Advocates and Riders this evening. I would like to mention to you Week Without Driving in Sacramento. It is October 2nd to 8th, and there's a website associated. If you search in Google for those 4 words, Week Without Driving Sacramento, you'll find it. It's a program that was started by Disability Rights Washington, but this year it's gone national with sponsorship with America Walks. You've all received an email via your elected office email, but understanding Mr. Cerna's comment, you're on a lot of boards and you might have missed it. So I will also contact you through SACRT with more information. This is not about not driving for the entire week. It's about replacing a trip you would normally take by car with a trip by another mode, transit, walking, and bicycling. And we are focusing on transit and riders who are disabled and therefore cannot drive for various reasons and use transit. It's open to anybody. It's open to any trip mode, but that's what we're focusing on is people who cannot drive and must use transit. And I hope that you have a chance to participate in the program. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Anything else?
We have Caden Mitchell.
Hello, good evening. My name is Caden Mitchell, and I am a Sac State student. I'm calling in because I'm doing a political science project, obviously for my political science class. I use...
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I was trying to unmute Dan.
Oh. Yeah, it looks like I was muted for
There you go.
a few seconds there.
You're back.
Yeah, regardless, I use light rail Monday through Friday, not exactly Saturdays and Sundays, but mostly every day. And I would like to say that I do enjoy using light rail. I think it's a mostly positive experience, although I do find mostly one problem with it. And my main concern is the lack of care when it comes to people disposing trash. And what I mean by that is often, or at least more times than I should have seen, I've seen trash discarded just by random individuals, spilled drinks, puddles on the floor due to those spilled drinks, things like paper, random food items, various things of that nature. And I am aware that, of course, SAC-RT staff members get onto trains to check people's passes and things like that. Although I wanted to know primarily how or if there are any strategies for dealing with the collection and, disposal of trash on light rail trains, and I suppose as well around light rail stations, because it is indeed a problem that I've noticed. Other than that, I don't have anything else to say, so I can end my public comment here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you calling in. Henry, do we have any contact information? We can get back to this gentleman.
Yes, we will get back to this gentleman, and his comment is really helpful. And we do have strategies or action at normal process to handle this. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have the contact information, do we?
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
No, we don't.
Can we, I think it's gone, right?
Jen, are you still there?
Caden?
Yes, I am still here.
Okay, how do we do this? Because we don't want to we don't want his information.
Can we give
on-
him an RT phone number that he can call?
If
So
I
we don't have him
do
put
have
his
an email, if you'd like to talk
would-
to me
No,
there,
Or you not to say
we'd
that
rather
on
not
Zoom?
publicize your contact
Okay.
information.
Can they just email the board comments email address?
Please, if you would just email the board comments email address, that way we're not publicizing your contact information, but we want to
Okay.
get back to you and contact you regarding your concerns.
yeah, how would I go about doing that?
Tabitha?
Or what email would I specifically email?
It's boardcomments@sacrt.com.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, it's on the first page of the agenda.
Okay.
And then Rick Hodgkins has his hand up, but he already spoke on item number 6, so I'm going to put his hand down.
Yeah, Rick, sorry, no 2 bites at the apple tonight. Next item, please. The new business, item
Yes.
7.
Item 7.1, information item, presentation on ongoing projects and initiatives. And Shelley Valentin is here to present this item.
Good evening, Chair Kennedy and Board of Directors. I'm actually here to introduce the item, and this is the third in our series of presentations on major projects. Just as a quick reminder, we have been collecting all of your feedback, suggestions, and comments. This presentation will evolve as we continue to hear more, and we're very happy to hear your suggestions and what else we would like to cover for future meetings. So last month, we presented on our FY23 strategic plan and our Mystery Rider program. Tonight, we are presenting on 3 specific topics. First, Jason Johnson, our VP of Finance and CFO, will provide a high-level summary of our fare-free analysis and our recommendations. Debra Selenis, VP of Communication and Partnership, will then present on how we are leveraging technology to enhance the customer experience. And then finally, Lisa Hines, our VP for Security, Safety, and Customer Satisfaction, will present on our measures to enhance our monitoring and prevention of safety incidents in our system. Next month, we will be presenting on bus efficiency and use of smaller cutaways, and also the school partnerships to promote ride-free. We will also be presenting our community transit champions. So as a reminder for our board, if you haven't done so, please, we're still accepting nominations for these awards. And with that, I will turn it over to Jason Johnson. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Kennedy and members of the board. Over the last few months, there have been several questions and comments regarding the feasibility of a fare-free program at SAC-RT. In response to this, staff has researched and analyzed the potential impacts of fare-free service and appreciates the opportunity to present the results to you this evening. One thing I would like to make note of, as is shown on the first slide, and as I have already stated, we're referring to this as fare-free and not free fare, because it's important to clarify that even if we offer a service for free to our ridership, someone is still paying for it. Next slide, please. Staff focused their analysis on the following areas. We first reviewed our existing sources of revenue to understand what current funding would be impacted by a fare-free initiative. We then analyzed the projected growth in system-wide ridership based on current constraints and potential for expansion. These factors were next translated into dollar value impacts on our current operating budget, and while not believed to be an immediate impact of fare-free service, there could be significant future capital needs that we did consider. We also reviewed successes and failures of fare-free service offered and are considered by other agencies. Next slide, please. The values shown on this slide are taken from the FY24 operating budget. It shows that district fares in total make up 6.9% of our total revenue. However, fares paid directly by the ridership total only 3.2%, and approximately 3.7% subsidized through various programs such as Ride Free RT. This is important for 2 reasons. One, it shows that a large percentage of the cost for riders is already being subsidized. And 2, if fare-free service were implemented, it is very likely that many, if not all of these revenue subsidies would go away. The result would be that we wouldn't just lose $8 million in passenger-paid fares, but the entire $17.3 million. Next slide, please. The next step in the process was to analyze ridership growth with consideration given to which services would experience the most growth, as well as which services have the most capacity for growth. We then overlaid this information with various growth trend forecasts. On this slide, we have 2 scenarios representing the lower conservative and higher, more ambitious ends of estimated ridership growth potential. It is important to note that these are very rough estimates using historical ridership trends, which were then applied to common growth ranges used in various fare-free transit studies. Overall, we don't see a significant difference in the ridership growth between bus and light rail, with a notable outlier being SAC-RT, our SAC-RT Go service, which I'll discuss further on the next slide. Next slide, please. For bus, right now our fixed route service has the greatest capacity to handle ridership growth, but eventually there would be a need for additional operators and vehicles to meet increased service demands. On the light rail side, there are system constraints to limit the amount of ridership growth we can achieve. But as we start to move towards those limits, there will still be impacts on our operations and related costs as noted. Fare-free demand response service would present unique challenges for SAC-RT. As is suggested in the description, SAC-RT's demand response service is demand-driven. This means that SAC-RT supplies buses and operators as requested. SAC-RT is already at maximum capacity in terms of service availability for passengers, and further increases in ridership will require new vehicle procurements and the hiring of more operators to meet that demand. Additionally, ADA paratransit services could present legal issues due to increased missed trip potential. Next slide. Using the ridership growth scenarios previously discussed, staff then approximated the associated operating and capital expenditures for each. Included in these estimates are personnel, fuel, maintenance, and other direct costs. Indirect costs such as administrative support were not included, as it is much more difficult or is much more complicated process to estimate these and the relationship to other increases. However, trends would likely see similar percentage increases as the changes in direct costs. The $26.8 million in fare revenue reduction for both scenarios represents the pre-COVID baseline for revenues and includes 10% of expenditure savings related to the elimination of fare-free collection infrastructure and personnel. Both of these scenarios represent increases beyond our pre-COVID ridership numbers. Overall, we can expect net annual cost increases between $42 and $70 million as ridership begins to exceed existing capacity. Another way to look at this is to achieve an overall ridership increase of approximately 14%, we will incur a net operating expenditure increase of approximately 17% based on our current $250 million budget. Next slide, please. We can also expect additional costs related to increased capital needs. As we move towards alternative fuels, whether that be electric, hydrogen, or some other solution, additional fueling infrastructure would be needed. Estimates of potential capital impacts are noted for each growth scenario. For both operating and capital, these figures represent dollars that Sacramento does not have at this time. Next slide. As previously noted, staff also reviewed fare-free programs provided or proposed by other transit agencies across the U.S. Some of the more relevant programs are highlighted here. KC Transit launched a limited fare-free rail service in 2019 and expanded their program to bus and paratransit service in 2020 to encourage ridership due to the impacts of COVID-19. The pilot program is currently scheduled to expire at the end of 2023 and has not yet been extended as local government officials explore funding options to cover increasing costs and service availability concerns. Houston Transit completed extensive research into providing a fare-free service, but ultimately determined it to be unfeasible due to the associated costs and concerns about operator availability. Washington, D.C. has has approval for limited fare-free transit service, but has yet to enact that program due to budgetary concerns. There are many other examples that we could cite, but the key takeaway from the majority of these programs is that they primarily provide fare-free service on a very limited basis and yet still struggle with funding issues. Next slide. Numerous ridership surveys have been conducted by SAC-RT and other transit agencies, and the results consistently demonstrate three areas of greatest concern to the public: safety and security, service reliability, and cleanliness. While the cost for fares is rarely in the top three, reducing fares to zero would likely negatively impact each of those areas that our ridership values most. Peer agencies have reported a need for significant additions to safety and security staffing to address related issues. Increased demand for ADA paratransit services could present legal issues for SAC-RT due to missed trips, and an overall increase in demand for services will put an extra strain on staff to maintain standards. Lastly, providing fare-free service in an effective manner really comes down to funding. Without a permanent, sustainable, and substantial funding source to cover the additional costs and lost revenues associated with fare-free service, such a program is simply not feasible at this time. We believe it is important to remember that SAC-RT receives only 1/6 of 1 penny in local sales tax revenues, whereas other agencies receive anywhere from 1/4 to a full 1% to support their operations. While a new tax measure would not guarantee fare-free service for SAC-RT, a local commitment to additional funding for SAC-RT operations could go a long way towards supporting a fare-free system in the future. However, recent voter polling regarding a new countywide tax measure for transit ranked fare-free service as having the lowest total support out of 23 funding elements polled, whereas keeping senior, disabled, veteran, and student fares affordable ranked the highest. Chris Flores will actually be presenting a little bit more on that poll later. And with that, I will turn it over to Deborah for the next part of our presentation.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
actually, we have questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Director
can
Kozlowski.
I have you back up to the slide where you had Kansas City, Houston, and Washington, D.C. on there? So am I right in reading this that Houston and Washington, D.C. considered this and balked, didn't implement it? Kansas City did implement it and is considering ending it.
Yes.
Did Kansas City see a jump in ridership like what you're talking about on the slide before this one?
We don't think they saw that significant of a ridership increase, but they did see an increase.
Could you pull the mic closer to you?
Sorry. They did see an increase, not to the extent that we're presenting here, and this is future capacity being exceeded, not immediately.
Okay, and then if you
So
can...
they were still being impacted by COVID-19 during this, and that's why they were kind of implementing it to increase their ridership because of that impact.
Is there a good example where fare free was implemented and ridership had a direct
Not to the level that
correlative increase?
Not to the level that we would be considering if it were a system-wide increase in ridership.
Gotcha.
Most of the ridership or fare-free ridership or programs that have been implemented have been on a very limited basis for routes or certain portions of the service.
Okay, and then
not at the same time where they're being impacted by COVID-19.
10-4, okay. Now, can you back up, I think, probably 2 more slides to where you were talking about the previous one, that one right there. So the scenario A, scenario B is a ridership growth of 3 million rides annually and 9 million rides annually. Is that am I interpreting that correctly here?
Yes.
And
Or actually, it's yes, rides.
Rides, okay. And given, I guess I have a more generic question. The point of your presentation I get and accept, and I think it was good analysis. What I'm wondering is, how elastic is the system as it exists to take more riders on without having more expenses for vehicles or drivers or fuel? You're already riding on a schedule with vehicles that may not be completely full all the time. How elastic is that now?
There is capacity right now.
Okay.
We do have a lot of capacity right now because we're not back to pre-COVID numbers.
Right.
So we can get back to pre-COVID numbers, and this is more so scenarios where we exceed our pre-COVID ridership and start expanding beyond that. And this wouldn't be immediate either. This would be over a period of time.
Okay, so again, let me ask the question slightly differently. Pre-COVID, your analysis is that there was no elasticity in the system at that point?
No, not that there was no elasticity, but we were starting to reach capacity in certain areas at that time. So
Gotcha.
it wouldn't take a lot of additional ridership to start exceeding our capacity.
Okay,
once
got
we
it.
reach pre-COVID numbers.
Thank you very much. That was my questions.
All right, before we change speakers, yes.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. I'm curious about what the ridership increase numbers were based on, because I know when we did the student ride free, and granted students are a different population than adults who are working, but that percentage was 300 and something % increase. I mean, it was significantly higher. So I guess I'm wondering how we landed on these models in terms of projected ridership change.
There were a lot of variables into that. And again, as we looked at what ridership increases we saw with other agencies, so we kind of applied those percentages to our general, but then also with certain areas such as students where we wouldn't see a large increase because we're already kind of at what our expected capacity is, or we already reached the number of riders. That isn't going to grow as significantly. So
no, I wasn't saying that students would grow further. I was just saying that when we made it free, we saw an over 300% increase in students riding, which granted is a different population. They usually can't drive. They're usually more income restricted, but that's why I was curious. These numbers seemed really low, even when you add in the adults and we have a car option and we have other alternatives. So I'd love to understand that. I know you probably don't have that ready here right now. I'm also curious that, I mean, one of the logic models behind this, I have a couple questions here, is that it's not fare collection isn't just a revenue option. You also expend staff resources and administrative capacity, not just in administering fares, but in oversight, detecting for abuse and people not paying their fares. So there's also a certain cost. So was that factored into this? I'm curious what that might have
into the
impact.
$26.8 million, we factored in actually a 10% cost into that. So we factored in 10% cost reduction.
Okay, so 10% is the number that it would?
It would have been 10% higher than that, and then we would have had a separate line, but that's typical within our system.
I mean, 10% is pretty significant, though. Okay. And then I guess when you mentioned the money lost with the fare box recovery, I'm curious if state and federal rules are specific on the color of money. So for instance, if we were to come up with a sales tax measure that were to pay, because I don't think anybody who's advocating for this is suggesting that we just have RT absorb the cost. I think the idea is that if there was a revenue source like we did with the student fairs where the local governments paid for it, right? We didn't just say, eat the cost. We said, here's $1 million, I forget whatever the dollar amount is that we each chipped in to make this free. What would that change that calculation in terms of state and federal money impact?
We would probably have to get some legislation because there are certain Fairfax recovery requirements.
Okay.
And certain things are not factored into that, so we would probably have to get some legislation change to get that change.
Okay.
In order to, now there is a moratorium right now for I think we're still got an extended for 2 years.
Yeah.
On our Fairfax recovery, so they're not measuring that.
Yeah.
Or it's not a requirement, but we would get to that point eventually.
Okay, because that wouldn't really be fair coming out of COVID. I get it. It would be great to see that level of detail, and that might be an offline conversation, but I'm really interested in understanding what not just the numbers look like in your projections for ridership and what sort of factors might change, either better or worse, as well as what that would look like in terms of money. Because it's one thing to say, well, most of this X dollar amount might be lost. What difference does that make if we have other sources of money? What is the gap delta that we're looking for, especially when we factor in something like a 10% administrative savings? That's not nothing. And so I'd just like to know more about how we got here.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Deborah.
Chair.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm very pleased that you at least went as far as to say that someone has to pay for that there is no free lunch. Someone's a taxpayer. And so I think we have to make sure we don't lose sight of that. And you went kind of fast, so I'm not sure. On the light rail side, did you say that you expect or don't expect or wouldn't expect an increase if it was fare-free in light rail use?
Because it's a fixed system, the increase would be different, but there would be an increase in cost at some point. And then we have a lot of the other related costs, such as your security. That would probably be more so on the light rail side than on the bus side. So there are more increased costs related to that increase in capacity or just increase in ridership in general.
Yeah, because I was also curious, like if we expand light rail so greatly at some point, how do people even use light rail if those parking areas are at a set point where you're only going to be able to increase so much that?
That's where you start getting into the infrastructure needs and more capital expenditures then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Deborah. We've lost a quorum, but we're still here, so.
Raise that down so you can see me.
That means
looking
go
at my-
quickly.
Okay, sorry, mine's a little bit longer, but good evening. Tonight, I will be providing an update on, I'll talk fast, how's that? An update on how we plan to improve the customer experience by leveraging technology. Next slide. This will include 3 targeted projects, a revamp of our website, improving passenger communications on board light rail trains and at stations, and consolidating all our customer-facing apps into one umbrella app. We currently have what you would call a homegrown website, just meeting the minimum requirements of being ADA accessible. The site was updated over 9 years ago, and now it's time to refresh the design to maintain an interactive, accessible, and visually attractive site, but most important is the accessibility. The new site will conform with Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which are internationally recognized standards developed by the World Wide Web Consortium, creating accessible web content. The primary goals of the website are to make it accessible, visually appealing, and easier to navigate both from a desktop computer and a mobile device. Many SAC-RT users are on the go, and it's very important to be mobile-friendly with fast-loading pages. The site must have an attractive mix of text and graphics, easy to navigate, and the website must be designed in such that users with slower connections are not at a disadvantage. It will also need to be optimized to scale for smaller screens. Right now, we don't have that ability. We use yet another app called m.sacrt.com. We released an RFP for website support and administration services about 5 months ago and are currently in the contracting process of getting the selected vendor on board. The estimated date for the new site to be up is within 6 months of the start of the contract. The Light Rail Passenger Announcement System and Train Technology Refresh Project will upgrade hardware and software equipment on board trains and in stations to create a unified communications infrastructure. The goal is to help SAC-RT achieve and maintain an ADA-compliant communications by announcing and displaying arriving trains at downtown light rail stations. By summer of next year, SAC-RT will be providing light rail service with 2 types of vehicles: the existing high-floor trains with steps and the new low-floor trains that offer low-floor boarding. Our current high-floor fleet requires persons with disabilities using a mobility device to board the train using a mini high ramp located at the end of the stations. The new low-floor trains provide boarding at all doors. If we operate a mixed fleet, then it's critical we provide a mechanism to direct passengers to the correct boarding area based on what type of train is entering the station. Implementing the new train technologies included in this project will enable SAC-RT to both improve operations and attract new riders with amenities like real-time passenger information and free Wi-Fi. Can you go to the next slide? I'm just going to start cutting things as I go. All right, in this section, I will cover a very broad spectrum of technology updates, including an upgrade to our electronic fare payment systems and improved trip planning so customers can pay and plan for their trip all in one app. Currently, we have what I would call App Salad, where a customer may need to download at least 3 or 5 different apps depending on the service they use. ZipPass is our mobile fare app. Alert SAC-RT is a smartphone app that allows users to report nuisance behavior. And then there's SAC-RT Bus Tracker, I think your favorite. Our subscription trip planning service and real-time bus tracking. Then we have SmartRide, which is our microtransit reservation system to order bus service on demand. And finally, there's Connect Card, the regional smart card usable on 7 local transit systems. The overall goal of the project is to simplify and improve SAC-RT's customer experience by reducing the number of different apps a customer needs to download and to consolidate as much functionality into one umbrella app. An RFP will go out later this year in preparation of developing the final scope. We just finished a round of information sessions with a variety of consolidated mobile app vendors. You can go to the next slide, please. First, we have mobile ticketing. This will include an upgrade to the Connect Card system. The existing version of the Connect Card is over 7 years old and is beginning to face some challenges. It's a card-based system that is not updated in real time. Instead, the back office communicates with field equipment on a preset basis, meaning that passengers may have to wait up to 24 hours for fare purchases to be available on their card. And the outdated and malfunctioning hardware at light rail stations has been an ongoing target of vandalism. In addition, the proprietary hardware is expensive and lead times for replacement are long. Next slide. The next iteration of electronic fare payment system will be fully integrated, meaning the passengers will be able to pay using their smartphone, smart card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, or even their contactless debit and credit cards. Next slide. Currently, the Alert SAC-RT app allows users to discreetly report safety and facilities issues, which includes the ability for users to access a built-in camera as well as find prominent link to quickly dial or text emergency services. With the upgrade, SAC-RT generated push notifications can be delivered to specific users for alerts or general announcements like upcoming promotions for hiring or free ride days. The new consolidated app will either provide similar reporting services as exists now with some additional features, or it will allow integration of our existing system, which is hosted by eLerts. We have made it a priority to create a high-quality GTFS real-time feed, in which the technology provides real-time tracking and mapping of our bus and future light rail trains, similar to tracking an Uber or Lyft. The feed will be made available to popular mapping applications such as Google Maps and Apple Maps, as well as third-party apps like Transit App and MoveIt. The new app will include first-mile, last-mile solutions, including e-scooters, e-bikes, ride-hailing, microtransit, and car share options. Riders will also see on-demand transit services in the trip planner results. And it will be available for SAC-RT bus and light rail transit options near where the customer is. Real-time availability and estimated time of arrival will also be provided. The ideal plan, if you want to go to the next slide, the ideal plan would also allow for integration of the current SmartRide microtransit app, which is hosted by VIA, into the new consolidated app. In summary, by leveraging new technology, it will have a transformative impact for our riders, making it more efficient, accessible, and environmentally friendly by encouraging more people to leave their car at home. That concludes my presentation, and I'll call up Lisa Hines.
Thank you. Before you do, are there any questions of Deborah at this time? Yes.
First of all, thank you for the presentation. And not a question, just wanted to say this is really exciting. I think this is going to really help.
A game changer, right?
Game changer, I think, especially for young people, right? Yeah. So I think people,
whoa,
their whole lives.
Whoa.
Do you feel offended by that?
Just young people?
But I do think it'll be a really great option, and just having everything in one place makes a lot of sense.
Yes, I agree. The 4 or 5 is ridiculous. I truly call it like app salad, but thank you.
The app salad, love that. Well, thank you so much for your work.
All right, thank you.
And for those of the old users of the system, I appreciate it as well. Lisa.
Safety and security play a very important role in providing a safe transit system at SAC-RT. It is highly important that we actively monitor our current safety and security response and make improvements based upon customer and employee feedback. We are in the process of making several safety and security improvements. Let's start at Watt and I-80. We continue to make several upgrades to the stations, which will help improve the rider's experience. For example, we're using 15 light-duty employees to monitor and oversee the elevator access. Their presence adds a positive experience for our passengers, and it helps them navigate our two-story station. As you can see from the slide, an added bonus for our customers is the very happy employees to greet them. Our light-duty staff are at the station 7 days a week, 4:45 a.m. to 10 p.m. Additionally, we've added 2 security guards, a second security guard, and they're there for the entire time we're operating light rail service. Facilities has added numerous signs throughout the stations, and the facilities teams also is maintaining a strict cleaning schedule, which really helps provide that sense of safety and security. They are also having some custom signs made to show when the elevators are out of service and there's a shuttle needed. Furthermore, we have noticed fewer elevator issues since we've added these employees and these security guards, making it a better experience at the station. Next slide. We have 2 new mobile camera trailers that have arrived and are being tested. These trailers are rapidly deployable, and they're able to provide live feed to our Security Operations Center 24/7. They have several security features embedded in them. And I believe this is a very innovative tool that will greatly improve our ability to remotely monitor SACRT-owned properties that have issues with illegal dumping and camping, as well as visually monitor our expensive equipment in the field. On a side note, we are leaders in having this operable equipment as compared to some local law enforcement agencies. In addition to technology, we've added 14 more security guards on our system. They're going to ride evenings when we have fewer passengers to really provide that sense of safety. They're going to get on the trains at Metro or a light rail facility, and then they'll ride the train in at night, making sure that train is free of any passengers and safe for our operators. As we layer our improved security response, we brought back fare blitzes. Regional Transit Police Service conducted our first fare blitz September 13th at Watt and I-80, providing a strong police presence. They had 153 contacts, a lot of very excited riders to see the police presence, and we only gave out 2 citations, one for urinating in public and one for fare. So it was a very successful experience. We'll continue this program with our next location this next Wednesday. Next slide. Our Security Operations Center is the heart of our safety and security team at SACRT, and we are just one opening away from being fully staffed. The team is currently working on securing video access internally to ensure that proper access is provided to those employees in need of that access. It is imperative that we quickly act when we observe a subject in a mental health crisis, such as yelling, screaming, and waving their arms. Nothing turns away a prospective rider like the fear of being unsafe. And as such, we have the soft monitoring cameras throughout the system to identify any such situations and to dispatch aid to those individuals in need. The Voice of God was implemented in 2018. This is a PA system deployed at all light rail stations that can be used in real time to address nuisance behavior as observed and reported to the SOC. This tool helps to immediately address violations of SACRT's rules and ordinances without dispatching security resources. Here is a short video that will demonstrate how effective it still is in the now today.
Welcome to the single wire Informacast system.
This is Regional Transit Police Services monitoring the College Greens Light Rail Station. There is no narcotic activity allowed on RT property. Male black adult sitting on the bench with a black jacket, blue jeans, brown boots. We have you in camera view. You need to leave RT property now or police will be en route. Repeating, this is Regional Transit Police Services monitoring College Greens. There is no smoking of any kind. That includes narcotic activity. Male black adult, black shirt, blue jeans, brown boots. You need to leave RT property now. Thank you.
Welcome to the single wire Informacast system.
3 examples.
This is Regional Transit Police Services monitoring the Zinfandel Light Rail Station. There is no drinking alcohol allowed on RT property. The male black adult with the San Francisco Giants orange shirt, black sweats, black slippers sitting on the concrete bench. You need to get rid of your alcohol or you need to leave. Failure to comply, police will be en route to make contact with you. Repeating, this is Regional Transit Police Services monitoring the Zinfandel Light Rail Station. There is no drinking alcohol allowed on RT property. The male black adult with the San Francisco Giants orange shirt, black sweats, black slippers sitting on the concrete bench, and you get rid of it, or you need to leave. Failure to comply, police will be en route to make contact with you.
And one more example.
Well, the Giants are having a tough year.
Welcome to the single wire InformaCast system.
This is Regional Trans Police Services monitoring the Globe Light Rail Station with a friendly reminder that the light rail station is currently closed. There are no current trains coming in or out the station. There's also no loitering or sleeping allowed on Arch property. You must vacate the area. Failure to do so, police will be en route to make contact with you. Once again, this is Regional Trans Police Services monitoring the Globe Light Rail Station with
We have used the voice of God 18,000 times since its inception in 2018 with a success rate of 70% compliance. That amount of resources we've not had to deploy. We use the voice of God 500 to 700 times a month to keep our system safe.
Welcome to the single wire InformaCast system.
Is that good, Adam? We got to watch it twice.
You in the gray jacket with the pink shirt.
I'm waiting. All right, in summary, we continue to proactively seek comprehensive safety and security improvements by leveraging resources to provide a safe experience at SAC-RT. And now I'd like to move on, unless you have questions.
Questions? Oh, fantastic.
Thank
That
you.
was great.
I'd like to move on and answer a few of the questions that came up tonight quickly. So first of all, we have maintained 3 months of less than 1% of trip cancellations, and we're very proud of that, although we could do better, and we know we could do better, and we constantly monitor that and work on that. But it is a fine line between having so many operators sitting idle to guesstimate when there's going to be a bus bridge, especially a 2-day bus bridge. So we do our best to manage that, and we will continue to work hard to do even better. And then regarding the underground infrastructure at light rail stations, years ago when we built the stations, there was IT fiber put in the ground, and we leased that fiber. So occasionally they dig it up, and then they provide access it to other companies. There was a question about bus stop access, specifically Route 33. So we were made aware of that late last week, and we contacted 311 and made a request to have the curb painted. We're working with our planning department to possibly relocate that bus stop. And we are just finishing up a 60-day pilot project that actually is 2 forward-facing cameras on our buses, Route 51 and 30, that are telling us that we have a parking problem at our bus stops. So more to come on that. But we've already been ahead of the curve trying to gather data on to see if we had a problem in that area. And then a couple more items here.
Quickly.
The spilled drinks and trash. We are constantly trying to deploy resources to address that. That's super important to us, and we hope that you download the Alert SAC-RT app so you can let us know in real time. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, real quick.
Yes.
You mentioned you called 311, just as any constituent would?
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe a direct outreach to Public Works, if it's a City of Sacramento Public Works issue, if it's a SHRA issue, as much as I love to believe 311 is doing its job, lately I've been hearing lots of concern from constituents that things aren't happening timely. Relative to their concerns, and I just want to make sure that we're, as an agency, using the most expeditious means to get an issue resolved. So I think having Lisa or your other relevant staff, given the nature of the issue, having direct communication, whether it's a phone call or email, to the appropriate person and sister agency is the right way to do it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Anybody else? Thank you, Lisa. That was fantastic. Jeffrey Tardigia. You got 2 minutes.
I know, Chris, that you wanted to come up and tell us about the issues.
Hey, we got a microphone for you here, Jeffrey. There you go.
My first one is going to be is related over here is this trust has 32 across the country of rider groups, and there's at least 15 of them that are right now seeking out that free, should we say, free fares through there. So I'm hoping that I can get the presentation. So Friday I can present it to the National Trust Organization. That's rider groups across the country. Second thing on there is RT has been very inventive and very creative, and a number of things you have been very successful in. So appreciate what was going on and happening through there. I hope that what Deborah suggested about the new website, I hope that the Academy brings that forward, and that these, should we say, alert app is explained very much to the Academy that is going on right now, Citizens Academy, so that they understand how to use the app. I use it repeatedly to send a lot of messages and things going on of what's happening through there. Let's see, number safety and monitoring concern. Yes, Lisa, we have certainly a lot of conversations in regard, and there is much hope that we can see things that improve in the future. Because I'm also involved with time and the point in time count, I do understand we need to find out how much, should we say, sidewalks for the city and for the county of how access for homeless and transportation is utilized and needed. Because obviously if they are homeless, many of the times they are going to be using our public transportation system in one way or the other. I don't think on this section we have on here.
Wrap it up.
That's it. I'll give you the week to that 7.2 to ask the questions.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I know that you need to get to another event, and our vice chair is not here. I'd be happy to run the balance of the meeting if you need to depart. I don't think we need we don't have a quorum for the balance anyway, so.
Thank you.
We need a quorum.
Let me kick off the next one, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Director Cerna. And I will be taking you up on that offer, because otherwise I'm getting the nasty eyeball from my
Do we have a
wife.
quorum or not?
We,
You're saying yes.
But we
I'm saying
don't. We
no.
don't have any votes to be taken.
in closed session.
Oh,
Well, we don't have do we have a quorum or not right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need to adjourn to closed session and deal with that issue and then come back?
all right. Let me do this. I'm going to take a little prerogative here. Sorry about this, Chris. You probably prepared a long time for this, but the majority of the people have already heard and seen the information that came out from the poll, and in essence, we initiated a feasibility study, is what I like to call it, not just a poll, to find out if a transportation tax was viable on the next year's ballot. I think that the poll that came back with, and it had participation from Regional Transit, from SACOG, from the business community through GSEC and others, basically said, you can wring your hands all day long and decide what you want on it and what you don't want on it, whether or not the connector's on it or not the connector, or whether it's light rail to the airport or not. And what the poll basically came out telling us, and I'm perfectly willing to be challenged by anybody on this, is that until you government, us, get your arms around homelessness, don't ask us for more money. And that's essentially what the poll found. According to the poll and the feasibility study, going out right now with a transportation tax would be folly, and have absolutely zero chance in passing, whether it's a citizens initiative or it's put on the ballot by STA and the Board of Supervisors. Is that fair, Chris? Yes. Well done.
Okay. Chair Kennedy, there was also 2 hands raised online for 7.1 for public comment.
Okay, so we do have 7.1, and we also have Jeffrey with 7.2. So let's go with the hands that are raised, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay, Dan Allison.
Good evening. Dan Allison with Sacramento Transit Advocates and Riders again. 2 areas of comment on Agenda 7.1. The first free fares star does not have a position on free fares, but supports the exploration of free fares. The analysis seemed to focus on costs and not on savings. So to mention again, some savings, not having to purchase and maintain fare equipment, physical infrastructure. There's improved dwell times for buses because there's less time taken up with fare payment so that the buses can run their routes faster. And security staff can focus on unacceptable behavior rather than fare enforcement, which is really the issue for the public. Public doesn't care about fare enforcement. They care about unacceptable behavior. The second area, leveraging technology. We support consolidation of the apps because it's a confusion for riders. SAC-RT does not have a good track record for implementing apps. They range from unusable to awkward. We suggest serious consideration of Transit app as the system. It has been adopted for the primary trip planning thing by most of the transit agencies in California. And it does, with additional cost, of course, to SAC-RT, offer implementation of every single thing that you're considering putting into your transit app in addition to route planning. We support the contactless onboard payment, tap to ride, but we're disappointed that disabled and senior fares have not been implemented. Monterey Salinas Transit implemented theirs almost 2 years ago. And we recognize that the Connect Transit card is out of date and it should either be brought up to date or it should be phased out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next caller.
Rick Hodgkins.
Rick. You there, Rick?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, first off, I want to say to you, Chair Kennedy, when I rose my hand again, I thought we were on another item. I'm sorry.
That's fine, Rick. Keep going. You're cutting in your own time.
Okay. I'm just letting you know.
Thank you.
So the other thing I wanted to bring about as I was listening to both presentations, I think the security is great. Hopefully that they'll keep people not dirtying up our elevators. I want to talk about technology. I think it's great that we're going to update RT's website. Also, I would like to point out that with the PA system at all light rail stations, that we ought to find, for those of us without apps, put into place when the next train is coming, where is it going, and how long before the next train gets there. This is what we have on the Muni light rail system. Like it'll say approaching, outbound, 2-car. They have letters down there. We have lines here, something along those lines, so that people who are blind without, iPhones can find out when the next train is coming. And also, I don't think the Connect card should be phased out. I think it should be updated, particularly for those of us that have the regional center pay for our fare. And if we're going to get our arms around homeless, we need to get rid of a law that is 28 years old called the Costa-Hawkins Rental Housing Act. And I support light rail to the airport, but where is it going to go? That's the question Angelique Ashby's been asking. Where is it going to go once we get it out to the airport and to Natomas? Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. And I also want to just give an extra shout out to you for being a real supporter of RT, and your comments are always appreciated. Jeffrey Tartagia on item 7.2. Nope. Okay. Next item.
The next item is 8.1, the general manager's report.
I'll skip respectfully.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. That will go well on your next evaluation. With that, we have Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority. Director Daniels or Maple, do you have anything to add?
You want to go first?
Happily. I'll make it very, very brief. First of all, I want to thank our Director of Light Rail Maintenance, Michael, for giving me a ride to Sassoon. He's lovely and really appreciated it. I learned a lot during that drive. I think the most important thing to call out is that The expansion of the Capital Corridor service for the Roseville third track was just awarded $42.51 million from the Federal Railroad Administration. So that's a really, really big win. And that was probably the most exciting thing that we learned. That's it.
Sir?
What she said, and I just wrote 10 seconds. We're having trouble keeping a quorum. We've had trouble with that kind of thing in the past with directors being here. I'm new. A lot of us are new, and I just want to see if maybe there's any energy in looking at and examining moving this meeting somehow to a daytime meeting. In my 13th year on the city council total, I don't think I've ever been on a nighttime board. And I look out at these people and I see that none of them are home with their families where they should be. None of us are home with our families where we should be. And so I don't know if it's possible because there's 350 different boards in this county, it seems like. And but if there was some way to move this to a daytime meeting, I think it's something we should at least examine. Maybe it can't happen.
Let's have that discussion. Thank you very much, Director. Anyone else? All right. That takes us to, we will now recess to closed session. Thank you very much.
Do you want me to read the item?
Please do.
Okay. 13.1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Flynn versus Sacramento. And if you don't expect a report out, we can go ahead and adjourn.
Thank you very much.